Yeah, hi Pete, so it's Tersse back on the What Was It? And I didn't know that Russell Brand was so sort of bound up with the David Lunch Foundation. And I find this a bit creepy. I don't know about you, but I do find this a bit creepy. I'm not sure the David Lunch Foundation is something that should be funded. You know, I'm not sure they're doing any good. I'm not sure that they're doing any good that couldn't be done perfectly well through the national health system that had plenty of well-paid counsellors and actually used proper procedures that we already know about dealing with bullying, stress, and in young people, and even what do you call it, warriors coming back from war who have problems readjusting to life. There is a lot of studies that have been done where, and there's some new studies being done where drugs are perfectly useful in this way. I'm not advocating that drugs, you go on a drug you use it for the rest of your life. I'm talking about drugs which can be used to normalise you and then be reduced, and you come off the drug and you become a normal human being again. If we treat battle fatigue, basically is what it is, if we treat that as we would treat an alcoholic or drug addiction, which is conquer the addiction by giving someone something to get rid of the symptoms, and gradually bring them off the drug you're using to the psychological drugs to alleviate the mental pain, and gradually bring them off it and introduce them into normal life, give them a normal routine, blah blah blah. It works a lot of the time, Transcendental meditation doesn't have any more of a success rate. It doesn't cure 100% of people. So it's no better than any of the methods we already know. And yet this foundation it's a bit, to me, it's a bit like forming another religion. Transcendental meditation is being spouted as a ubiquitous pill to solve all the humanity's social problems, and I just don't think that's true. And let's face it, I didn't know about transcendental meditation until I was like 15 or something, and read some books that mentioned it. T. Lobster Rampa. I read some of his books, and he was into transcendental meditation, but I understood that I'd been doing that since I was a child. Since I was a child, I would go off by myself and just sit and stare at the wind blowing through long grass and watching the waves and patterns of the grass. I would watch the wind blowing through trees in the park, and just observing the motion of wind through leaves and the patterns it would make. Lying back, every child does this. You lie back and you watch the clouds, and you just let your mind imagine what these clouds, as they slowly change shape, what they look like. That's transcendental meditation. You're not thinking about the real world. You're using your mind and letting it wander and imagine, and just you're expanding your consciousness into deceiving yourself into believing that what's in front of you isn't what's in front of you. That's transcendental meditation. Every person has done that at some time in their life, I've been doing it all my life. I still do it. I lie in a dark room at night and just in my bed when I can't sleep and just stare into the darkness, and I see coloured sparks and lights spontaneously appear and disappear and move about. They're not there. There's not red and green and blue little sparks appearing. My mind is making them up. You know what I mean? I'm letting my mind make them up. Things are appearing there. I'm seeing darker patches of blackness and lighter patches of blackness in the dark. In the fucking dark. It's dark. I'm seeing dark and lighter patches of darkness, and I'm letting my mind make shapes and images out of them. That's transcendental meditation. I don't need a mantra to do it. Apparently, one of these things that what do you call them, Russell Brand talks about is there's some period in this learning transcendental meditation that the David Lunch Foundation assigns you a mantra. This is a secret mantra. You've got to keep that secret mantra to yourself. You've not got to tell anybody else. But this, to me, is a bit like forming a religion. It's a bit like being one of these crazy fucking, what do you call them? You know, the Ron Hubbard fucking people, you know, who believe in fucking aliens that made, I don't know what, I can't fucking remember. But all that shit, you know. And you know, there's all these secret levels within the fucking, and this is not what TM's about. This is bullshit. Secret fucking mantras. Bollocks to that shit. Nobody needs a mantra. You don't need a mantra to get into a mind state. What you need is quiet and peace. That's all. And it does. As I say, I'm 52 now. I've been doing it since I was a fucking child. I've been doing it since I was a fucking 6 or 7 year old. I could drift off in the middle of a class, staring out the window at the fucking field at the back of the school, and I could. And the teacher would have to call my name fucking 2 or 3 times to get me to fucking turn and go, what? Sorry, you know. Yeah. I was, you know, teachers thought I was a wanderer, you know. Oh, there, you know, doesn't know anything, you know. He was always drifting off in class. No, my mind was fucking listening and imagining and picturing it all, you know what I mean? But I wasn't listening fully. My mind was drifting, you know what I mean? But I wasn't not there. I was there, but my mind was absorbing information differently from fucking other kids, I suppose, you know what I mean? I wasn't sitting there taking notes and shit, you know what I mean? My mind was capturing information, adjusting to that information and what I already knew, you know, reassessing it, filing it, categorising it. But while I was doing that, my mind was also, I was working with two different levels, you know? And I find that works even today when I have a serious problem that I can't get my head around. You know, if I'm there in an instant, constantly thinking about it, and you know, sometimes you just got to break off and go off and fucking just stare at nothing and let your mind drift. And then, bang! It's like, doom! These connections are made somewhere in there that I'm not consciously trying to make, that they just get made. Your mind has this funny, weird way of doing shit when you're not trying to control it and make it do shit. It does it for you if you just give it some space, you know what I mean? That's transcendental meditation, you know. You're letting your mind work the way it's supposed to work without constraining it and trying to force it into a box and make it work the way it's fucking, you know, people tell you it's going to work, you know. 52, man, you know, and all my life I've been able to solve nearly all my problems that were within the boundary of me being able to solve them. Obviously there's problems you meet in life that have got nothing to do with you and you've got no actual control over. You know, well, you can't solve them just in your head. There's some problems where you've got to actually physically go out there, find information you don't know, accept that, work around that, absorb it into your idea of what the problem is, and then go and find the person you need to talk to fucking solve the problem. Now, that is a fucking unique way of dealing with fucking problems. Sometimes you have to go and confront some fucker and get something done. But you can't do it if you don't know what you're going to have to say to that person. So a lot of the time there's information you have to gather. You have to absorb that and collect it and collate it and make fucking sense out of it and know what it is you know that can be said and done. And then you need to find the person that you have to go and present that information to in order to solve the problem. So transcendental meditation can't solve all your fucking problems. So I don't believe the TM thing, you know, the David Lynch Foundation shit. I don't believe that that is fucking, you know, a viable alternative to what we do today. It might be that some of the shit that they have might be incorporated into, you know, the present day understanding of how the mind works, and how counsellors can maybe, you know, take some of it and use it in therapy, but it's not a fucking magic bullet, man. You know what I mean? It's not the silver bullet that's going to solve all our problems in education. And I mean, bullying in schools, right? You should be taking the victim of bullying and teaching them how to deal with how to be bullied and put up with it. You should be fucking targeting the bullies and kicking those motherfuckers out of school. Taking them and training them how not to bully, you know what I mean? So I don't really know what this Transcendental Meditation David Lynch Foundation is doing with fucking schools and education, but if they're trying to train and teach the fucking bullied to deal with being bullied, they're doing it wrong. You need to go and find the bullies and punch them in the fucking face, you know what I mean? Like I did when I was at school. My Transcendental Meditation fucking taught me that, you know. Yeah, I can try and avoid bullies all my life. I can try and put up with it. I can accept being bullied and my money stolen off me and punched occasionally and just heal up and put it. Or I can go and find those bullies, you know what I mean, one at a time when they're not together as a group, and batter the fuck out of them, you know what I mean, and let them know what it's like to be bullied until they fucking leave me alone, motherfucker, you know what I mean. And I think that's, you know, I like the Transcendental Meditation out of, yeah, I accept what happens to me in life, I learn through, you know, the suffering that I go through in life, but also weigh out a bit of fucking suffering yourself now and then, man, you know what I mean? Oh, you, yeah, suffer, motherfucker, slap, you know what I mean? Every time you and your mates come and make me suffer, I'm going to make you suffer twice as much, motherfucker, you know? Yeah, that, you know, so you have Transcendental Meditation, then you have the physical, real world that you live in. You have to deal with that as well, you know what I mean? So I don't like this idea of Russell Brand being attached with this David Lynch Foundation. And I'd like to know what the fuck's going on with this David Lynch Foundation. I should actually go and Google the people that are involved in it. Because they all appear to me to be Christians. They're always saying, you know, God bless you and all that. I don't know if that's just like a characterisation of the way they were brought up, and they don't really mean that, you know, you have to believe in God and God should bless you and God exists and all that. Or whether it's actually a religious group trying through some meme of TM to actually reincorporate people back into religion, because it does have that sniff about it, you know what I mean? All these magic secret mantras you can't tell anybody, you know, it's almost like an indoctrination, you know, there's a doctrine there, there's rules that apply to you, you know, fuck rules, there's no fucking rules to live in life, there's laws you have to obey, but there's no real rules. I just don't get it, man. Maybe Russell Brand's just using them in order to further his aim, which is to try and get people who shouldn't be drinking and taking alcohol off of drinking alcohol. And he's not really observing all the other stuff they're doing all about them, you know what I mean? In which case, he's not as smart as I thought he was. I hope he is smarter, and I hope these people aren't crazy religious people trying to slip Christianity in through the TM back door. But as I say, everybody does Transcendental Meditation. If you want to get better at it, you've just got to do it more often. I did it a lot more when I was a kid than I do now. But I've never forgot the techniques of how to, you know, free my mind and let it wander. And it's a beautiful technique for solving difficult problems that seem unsolvable until you just let your mind sift through the information and it sorts itself out. I mean, it's not going to solve every problem you've got in your life, but it will point the direction you may have to physically go and move in to solve your problem. Whether or not you've got the guts to go and do that thing that your brain tells you, that's up to you. Confront a person, spend some time finding information, and then going and presenting that information to someone. You know, these are sometimes the answers that you get, you know, from your mind. It's not all just, oh, you think up this magic fucking karma magic trick and you cut your fingers and your problems are solved. No. Sometimes it actually takes some physical and mental work to actually solve your problem, but if you don't know what to do in the first place, sometimes you need to just sit and think, how would I go about solving this problem in the real world if I knew how to solve the problem? And sometimes, most of the time I find anyway, my brain comes up with positive you know, things that I can do in order to alleviate my problems, you know. And it rarely takes more than a few Google searches for phone numbers, some internet searches for, you know, the people in certain areas of, you know, either government or a business, you know what I mean, that you're working in, to contact. And then you've just got to have the guts to go and talk to those people and sort your problem out, you know what I mean? That's basically what a lot of life is, man. You've got to have the guts to go through with what your brain tells you should do. If you're a coward and you, what if they don't like, what if they say no, fuck it, if they say no, you've just got to reassess things and find another solution. The worst thing in life that can ever happen to you is you fucking die, and people don't get shot for approaching bosses and saying, I don't like what's been done to me, you know what I mean? Or, you know, contacting the council property division or tax division or whatever, you know what I mean? And emailing a fucker or getting an appointment and go and talk to them. They don't kill you for that. They don't round you up and put you in jail, you know what I mean? But if you leave the problem hanging on and hanging on, if you get in debt and you leave the problem, you hide away from it and you burn the letters, you know, it's only going to get worse, you know what I mean? If you've got a neighbour that's fucking pissing you off and, you know, yeah, sometimes you've got to go to your local council, your local housing officer or whatever, you know, and fucking sort that shit out. Even if they find out you're doing it, and that, you know, you've got to confront them sometimes and punch the fucking face in, you know what I mean? These are the things you've got to do in life sometimes, you know? Anyway, as long as you've had another fucking thing, I've rambled on long enough, another 17-minute video. But Russell Brand, yeah, I thought he was smarter and more wise, and I'm not sure about this David Lynch Foundation fucking shit. Deal with schools, military, women, American Indians, homeless shelters, prisons. I'm not really sure what the fuck they actually do with these places. Connecting to this. Anyway. Yeah, these gear, what's the statistic? They don't tell you what they're actually fucking doing, man. Yeah, oh, this is bad. Oh, this is how it runs. But they don't tell you what they're doing to make it better. You know, I just, what the fuck are they doing? What does this foundation do apart from tell you how bad shit is and then ask you for money? Seems like a fucking scam to me. Telling you. A fucking scam. This is how bad the prison is. This is how bad the rates of black people being arrested in prisons. This is how the bad way they're treated by. Now, here's a big donate button up the top. Yeah, but what are you going to spend my fucking money on? How are you going to fix this situation? How are you going to make it better? They don't tell you that. Apart from, what, teaching people to meditate? God, man, all you've got to tell them is, remember when you were a kid and you used to daydream? Yeah, well, do that. Do that a lot. Because that's TM, motherfucker.